What's up, guys? Welcome to B Sports Picks. So actually, we're 8-2 in the last 2 days. So that means we were 4-1 yesterday. Unfortunately, the one that lost was the free pick. So all the other four that hit in the VIP. I'm going to show you all the receipts for that. I am going to go through this slate very quickly. There's 4 games that I'm going to be looking at. One of them is super strong, so stay tuned for that. So again, 4-1 yesterday, and the day before that was also 4-1. Unfortunately, the one I gave away yesterday was from the free pick. That's the one that lost. So it is what it is. 4-1 in the VIP yesterday. So there's 4 games I'm going to talk about in this video. And then there's also 11 of the 40 games that are in college that I'm taking a look at. This is going to be for the VIP later today. But I will be talking about these 4 games in the NBA today. If you want to know exactly what I'm going with, go to the pinned comment and you'll see all the games that I'm going to be posting here and here. I will talk about exactly the 4 games that I'm looking at, but you will kind of have to do your own lines and figure that stuff out. But I will tell you how strong I feel about these. So very quickly, before I get started, we did go with the Thunder. I did pay the extra juice just because I wanted to make sure. I did not want to take the spread, and I'm glad I didn't because they barely won by 3. So that did end up hitting on the money line. I took this one as a little bit of an afterthought. I added some stuff to the SharpEdge, which I'll show you. And as soon as I updated the SharpEdge, I noticed this game was actually very late in the night. So I was able to catch this pretty late. And like I said, I only threw it in there to test it. And you can see they actually won by 23 points. So I will be throwing out this information on the VIP as well. This was actually the most questionable one on the board yesterday. I took it for half a unit at a plus 100. And you can see that actually got paid out early because they were winning by so much on Bet365. Now, this is the one that didn't win. The Knicks and the Thunder came through very easily. They only hit 203 points. We had them not to go over 235. So that won very easily. However, this stupid Jazz team, they barely even scored. And anyways, they did not end up hitting the over 224. They were supposed to go over like 235 or something crazy. I bought it all the way back to 225, and that did not come through for us. And like I said, this was the play that I gave away for free. So unfortunately, it did not hit. And then the last one is Miami, Florida at a plus 2.5. That came through for us. You can see they won by 8. All right, now let me get started, guys. This is the first thing I like to look at is the betting analysis. I get this every morning. I'm going to be throwing this into the SharpEdge as well. This will be thrown into the SharpEdge, I believe, starting this week. However, if you want to see this today, you can get this, take a screenshot of it, but it's also in the Discord. If you want to check out the Discord, it's 7 days for free. The link is in the description for that. All right, guys, so very quickly, like I said, I'm going to talk about 4 strong plays. One of them is extremely strong. I'm going to explain exactly why I feel that this is going to hit. And then I have the other 3 that are very good as well. So just stay tuned. All right, so the first thing I want to look at, like I mentioned, was that analysis sheet that I look at. So the second thing I like to look at is the SharpEdge tool. You can see right here, it gives me the back-to-back report and it gives me all the projections for today's games. So this is actually what I'm looking at. The back-to-back report, Washington is on a 1-day rest advantage. I'm not touching Washington. They just completely suck, even though they're going up against even an equally worse team. I'm not touching this, but this is good information to have just to tell who's tired, who's not tired, and stuff like that. So again, I'm staying away from that game. But that's something that I definitely take a look at every day. Now, the Magic says here, these are projected scores, not final plays. Magic says it's supposed to win by 10. Wizards is supposed to win by 4. And like I said, they have a 1-day rest advantage compared to the Jazz, which played yesterday. The Heat is supposed to win by 12. The Rockets is supposed to win by 12. Timberwolves is supposed to win by 2. The Spurs is supposed to win by 4. Suns is supposed to win by 7. Nuggets is supposed to win by 3, and then the Pelicans is supposed to win by 4. Now, I'm not going to get into this, but like I said, there's a lot of games over here for college. Out of all these 40 games, I'm looking at 11 of them. And like I said, that's going to, once I break that down, that's actually going to go into the VIP. So if you guys want access to that, check out, or if you want to check us out for 1 day, that's going to be in the pinned comment for 1 day. Also, check out the VIP in the link in the description. All right, so now let's get right into it. So one of the plays that I like for today is going to be the Rockets and the Warriors. So you can see the Warriors are supposed to win by 12, but I'm looking at the over-under. I'm actually looking at the under specifically. So right here, if we do the math, that's 102 plus 114. That's actually 216. The line opened up at 217.5. It's currently at a 215, so the line did drop 2 points, even though 80% of the money Even though 80% of the bets and 81% of the money is coming in on the over, this is a reverse line move. Now, this is one of the things I added. I don't want to confuse you, but this is called the strength of schedule. This is one of the things I added yesterday, and that's why I was able to take the Clippers, because I saw what was happening there. Again, I'll get deeper into this once I start talking about it and when it matters. But just know that I added this thing here to tell you it actually throws off all these numbers if you're looking at the strength of schedule. So anyways, that's very important, just so you know. But again, I'm not looking at this against the trend, against the spread. I'm looking at the under. Now again, Golden State is only hitting at a 16% whenever they're facing top 10 scoring defenses. That's good to know if you're looking at the Rockets. Okay. However, what we're looking at here is it does say Golden State is 75% on the over whenever they're going against top 10 scoring defenses. However, there's a big indication here of why this is not going to happen, in my opinion. So the reason I don't think this is going to happen is you got Golden State. They're only hitting at a 62% on the offense. They're horrible. And then you got the offense on this side, which is Houston, 85%. Both of these teams actually have great defense. These guys are one of the top defense in the league. Houston is actually one of the top defenses in the league. Golden State is not so bad either, but like I said, they're very affected by the overall offense. So that affects the over. Now, if you go into deeper research, I'm not going to do that here, but that's available in the SharpEdge. I already did that. This is the reason I'm going on the under. There's a lot of reasons, but this is one of the big ones. Just take a look at how many injuries are on this game. The big ones, for example, are Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, Porzingis. All three of those dudes are out. That's already about 70 points off the board. On the other side, you got Van Vliet, Sengun is questionable, and then Smith. So all these guys overall, this is a lot of points off the board. So the first play that I'm going with is going to be on the under. Like I said, if you want the exact number that I'm taking, I'm actually buying it back and I'm parlaying it with something else. But if you want the exact line that I'm going, go to the pinned comment if you want to check that out. All right, so for the second play of this, I actually like the Rockets again. I already explained all the injuries. So I do love the Rockets in this position. You can see the Houston is 8.5. That's where they started at. It's currently at a -9. And the public agrees with this. So the Sharps and the public are in agreement with this. And the line is shifting in Houston's favor. Now, the strength of schedule is stronger for the Warriors, but the Rockets overall, they do have a very dominant team. For the reason being here, like I said, offense is horrible on Golden State and offense is great on Houston. 87% chance that Houston takes this. And then, like I said, all the injuries on both teams, but more importantly on the Warriors. So the second play that I'm taking is going to be Houston. Again, I'm not taking it at that spread because of all the injuries. I am buying it back. If you want those final plays, go to the link, the pinned comment. All right, so on this one, I'm going to read a couple of notes. I do have the numbers to show it, but I do want to read a couple of notes just to kind of get through this a little bit faster. You can see they started the Lakers and the Nuggets. I'm actually looking on the over. A lot of people are actually going on the under. The reason they're going on the under is because the line got inflated so much that you can actually still hit on the under, and it's a good chance that you will hit on the under at the current line because it shifted so high up. I'll explain that deeper whenever I have more time. But look at this: the Lakers are at 120, Nuggets are at 123. This is the projected score. So that's a 243. That's the projections. Again, look at the opening. It was 233. That's 10 points below the projection. That's why the line shot all the way up. You can see the current line is 241. So it went from a 233 to a 241. That's a 7-point line move on the over. Now, like I said, a lot of people are hitting the under because this line is inflated already. So you can see 56% of the people, 64% of the money is coming in on the under. The Sharps see it as the over. That's why the line is still shifting up. Strength of schedule right here, you can see they both have been facing very bad teams. So they're very similar strength of schedules. One of the things also is that the expert insights, it does say that the Nuggets are 76% on the over in the last 30 games. That's 23-7 in the last 30. Now, this is very good also. You can see 98% offense, 98% offense. So that means they're A-grade offense on both teams. They're both on fire, and they're going against B-rated defenses. So again, picture this: great offense going against weaker defense. All right, guys, before I give you the last one, please make sure to go check out the free picks. Also, in the pinned comment, you can get the one-day pass, which is cheaper than the one you see here. But if you want VIP to check us out, you can got the 1 day there, 1 week, 1 month. Also, check out the Discord. I already threw out those executive slips that I showed you. You can check that out in the Discord. And then that's for free for 7 days. And then the SharpEdge tool, which is everything I'm showing you. That's the tool that I use every single day. Check out the SharpEdge for 2 weeks. The link is in the description for that. Final play I'm going to talk about is the Timberwolves. I like them to win straight up, and I also like the under. So let me just kind of talk about both very quickly. Minnesota is 5.5. It went to a -6. You can see 62% of the bets, 58% of the money is coming in on Minnesota. So the Sharps are aligned with the public as well. Now, one of the things that does suck right here is that they don't cover spreads. You can see they only hit this covering the spread 30% of the time. Raptors are covering the spread 60% of the time. Now, this is one of the reasons why this is so strong to know this stuff. Timberwolves' strength of schedule is 30. So what this means is that they've been facing the worst teams, and yet they're not even able to cover the spreads. So I would not touch the spread at all. That's another reason why this line is not shifting more, is because they just do not cover spreads. So be careful on the spread. Also, on the money line, you can see they are somewhat decent, but again, they've been facing horrible teams. So on this level, they do hit 69% in the last 13 games. The under has also hit 72% whenever they're at home. Now, they both have great defenses. Now, they both have great offenses and a somewhat decent defense as well. 58% chance that Timberwolves win this game. And the big reason that I think this is happening is because Ingram is questionable. If he ends up playing, this line is actually going to shift in the favor of Toronto. But if he doesn't end up playing, this should be a decent look on the under and on Timberwolves to win. Now, another last thing I'm going to mention here is all this stuff that I added. This is the last thing I'll mention. You can see I color graded the stats. So now you can just take a quick glance. Just look at all this green over here compared to all this red over here. So Minnesota is looking fire compared to this team over here. Another key insights, I added the little logo to tell you which ones are strong. So all 4 of these pretty much are going on the Timberwolves. Shooting analysis, again, overall, it's all green compared to all red. Again, you got Minnesota, all the Timberwolves over here showing as well for all the insights. Same thing with the rebounding and stuff like that, all that. And then again, turnover and rebounds, all that stuff is green going in the favor of Minnesota. So I hope you saw that. I'm going to explain that deeper on a different video. I updated the SharpEdge to show a lot more detail. And on top of that, just by taking a quick glance, you can see one team is all green and the other team is all red, pretty much. So that gives you a clear indication. That's how I was able to pick the Clippers very quickly yesterday, because all the stats, all the strength of schedule, all the rebounding, all the defense, everything was pointing towards the Clippers yesterday. That's the same thing with Minnesota today. All right, guys, we crossed 4,600 subscribers. Let's get to 5,000. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all that are commenting and liking the videos. That really does help me out. I really do appreciate that. Let's have a great day.